Hey everybody, and guess what? I'm actually now realizing that we're actually recording. So no more of the whole testing to see if we're recording
Good.
shenanigans. Now we're gonna get to an actual intro.
Yes. So, hey everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the Take It with a Grain of Sand podcast with your host, Mickey P.
And Ricky P.
And so, last episode, we kind of showed you what it was going to be like on this show, what the show was about, and what we would be doing. Today, we decided to talk more about ourselves, who we are, our background, and, really dig into why are we even doing a podcast. And so if you want to hear more about that, keep on listening. And
Yeah.
later on the podcast, we've got funny news. It's a whole show. Just stay tuned. Keep listening.
Yes. So, without further ado, let's get to the backstory segment. Okay, before we really get started with our segment, I think it's an appropriate time, Mickey, that we actually introduce ourselves to the audience and give a little bit of backstory.
Yeah, that I think so too.
So, who's getting started? Who's started?
Well, I'll start.
Okay.
Um, so I'm Mickey P. Um, that's a nickname for Michaela. Oh, well, see, Ricky and I are brother and sister. I'm older by 2.5 years, and I'm 23 years old. We grew up in Virginia Beach, and yeah, Ricky.
Well, Ricky P. Real name is Roger Pearson. How I came up with that nickname was, you know, take the last four letters of my name, Rick, put a Y in there just to really, roll off the
I
tongue.
think I think they get it, Ricky.
Okay, alright. But in all seriousness, what do I mean? Well, basically, she kind of really explained the majority of it, but if I want to add something that really interests me, want to answer what I'm really doing nowadays, it's like, now I'm kind of really into video making and video editing, mainly gaming content. That's what I've been mostly all my life, and Mickey already knows about it, even throughout our childhood and into like adulthood. So that's
Yeah.
basically the gist of who I am.
All right. Well, why are we making a podcast? You, as a listener, may be asking. And I guess I'll tell you now. Um, so growing up, Ricky and I, me being the older sibling, I was always coming up with various things for us to do. And so Ricky would always kind of go along with whatever kooky idea that I came up with. And this podcast is kind of just like the latest version of that. Like one day I just woke up and I was like, a podcast. I want to make a podcast, and I called up Ricky and I was like, we should do a podcast, and he was all for the idea, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically, this is really the first time we ever really worked together. It's probably the
No.
third time we ever really did a project
I
together.
I think there was a lot more than that. It's just the others didn't get developed to this stage for the most part. Like, so I guess we should back up a little bit. What was the last project we worked on together?
Marshall kicks.
No, after that.
Wait, not after that?
What was the last thing we did just a few years ago?
A Mickey P rap career?
Yeah, that's right. Uh, Vicky P was also, it's not just a nickname, it was also my rap name. And together, Ricky and I, Ricky really helped me to write the songs, and then I recorded them. And they were not good. I don't know why I thought I could rap. I'm just, well, rap is my, like, hip hop is my favorite genre of music. I'm very inspired by rappers. And I just, one day I was like, you know what? I can do that. I see that and I can do it, as a lot of people do. And that didn't work out so well. Um, but that was just like the latest, like that was the last thing that we worked on. That was a few years ago. I think I was like 18 or 19 when we were doing
Well, the
that.
last time you
And
worked on it, yeah, you were 19.
yeah, so
That was
man,
like,
I had some fans though. I had like 5 fans. Of course, all people I knew in real life.
yes.
I couldn't get fans that I didn't know. It was just people that I was like, hey, you want to listen to my song? And they were like, sure. And I played it for them and they liked it. But it didn't it didn't propel me into fame or stardom or anything like that. I wasn't talented enough to really like take off a rap career. I also wasn't different enough. Like I feel like you either have to be unique, like you have a unique sound, a unique flow, a unique production style, something like that, or you have to be a really talented lyricist in order to compete with so many other artists that are already dominating the industry. And I was neither of those things. I didn't have any of it. I got my beats from this free app on my phone where I could just download beats and just rap over them and like really easily put it together. I recorded from my little directly into my phone, by the way, not into a computer or anything. It was so bad. Why did I ever think that that was good? I can't even figure it out. And I used to, whenever I was like in a mood to write a song, I would call up my brother, Ricky P, to help me with the inspiration. And like, how did we do that?
And we just kind of really sit around, and whenever an idea pops up, we actually say it, and if you like it, we'll use it. If we don't, then we'll think of something else.
Yeah, I remember I was also very committed to writing everything down by hand. I thought that that was more artistic to have everything written down. I probably still have that notebook somewhere with all the songs written down. And I remember when I used to call you, I would just say, "What do you see?" And then you would say something like a mirror because you were in your bedroom. And I would be like, a mirror, looking at myself, staring at my reflection. And that, like, the ideas would come from that. I remember one of the lines. I remember that line when you said a mirror. I said, when I look at I think the line was, um, I can't remember. I lost it.
Ugh.
um, looking for reflection. it's all just rejection. I don't remember what it was, but it whatever it was, it's not even worth mentioning because it wasn't good.
Hey.
And so yeah, that was the last time that Ricky and I worked on a project together. That was all my idea. And before that was back when was it?
That was 2013.
2013. So long. That was 9 years ago. Um I was a freshman in high school and you were what in the 7th grade?
I was going to say, it was like, I think, I just think before I turned 12. I was turning 12 that year.
I'm pretty sure I know I was a freshman, so you must have been in the 7th
Yeah,
grade.
yeah.
Okay. So my idea, my $1 million idea at 14 years old was that my brother and I would make a web show. I thought that all I needed to do was come up with some ideas, write down a script, we act it out, I edit it together, and then it's going to be this huge hit. Everyone's going to love it. It's going to be so great. Disney is going to get us on the phone to get on a show. I actually thought that. I wholeheartedly believed that we would be such a big deal that we could get like a show on Disney. That we were going to be the next Disney stars. Like we were going to be like Miley Cyrus, like Selena Gomez. Like we were going to be huge. That it wasn't good.
Oh,
Alright, what was that project called?
I just said
Yeah.
Marshall cakes.
Oh man, okay.
Uh,
So, how about you tell them what was Marshall Cakes all about?
uh, Marshall cakes was about two kids who came up with the idea to sell a product, which what we used were Twinkies, and then we
Yeah,
just
so
passed it off as Marshall cakes. But here's the
yeah,
twist: the C was replaced with a K.
yeah. See, we were the Marshall kids.
Yes.
Like our last name on the show was Marshall, and we sold cakes. And they're supposed to be like little packaged cakes, like snack cakes. So, and that was also the same year that the Twinkie came back. And our mom kept buying Twinkies. And so I was like, let's just use a couple of Twinkies and we'll call those Marshall cakes. Because there's no, like, the packaging, if you buy them in the box, the packaging is just clear. There's no name on it. So we can just use this as Marshall cakes. And oh my god, that was so bad. So I played Kirsten Marshall and I
Um.
was the baker.
Yeah.
Ricky?
And I played Savon Marshall, and did we even establish my role?
I think you did the marketing.
Oh yeah, right. It was marketing.
Your character was in charge of marketing. And oh man, it was so absurd. I remember in one episode, so it's just the two of us. So if we wanted other characters, we also had to play the other characters on the show.
Yeah, they went.
So remember, you remember the episode where you played the health inspector?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
We had to play double roles. I played my own twin in a couple episodes.
Yes.
Oh man, that was so bad. How many did we do?
Uh,
that we actually finished.
well, the videos are still up on the internet right now. I think we kind of finished off with the second part because it was like a two-parter.
No,
Like
like how many episodes did we do
I
altogether?
I don't know.
I want to say it was
It was
like
around
5 or 6,
seven, I think.
7.
Well,
I remember that I definitely wrote at least 2 or 3 more scripts than we actually recorded
yes.
because we lost whatever the passion was that we had at the beginning. We just stopped.
Oh, so
Um.
okay, so it was like 7 episodes. I just checked.
Okay.
Hmm. With
Okay. Well then, yeah.
but actually, it's 7 episodes. But there was like I don't know. We did this like one episode that isn't on the internet. We haven't really released it yet. I don't even think it's even edited yet. That we recorded
you say
on another
you
city.
say yet you say yet like we're going to.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't really at the time where we still had the passion, but that's kind of considered probably lost in media. Like, you're never really going to see that. Ever.
I don't even know where those files might be.
No, it's probably still on that camera, but
Probably
I
it's
don't even know
probably
what that camera
on
is right now.
it. It's probably on that camera, and yeah, I don't know. That's lost forever, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Good riddance to Marshall cakes. So that was another time that I came up with a project for the two of us to do that actually, like, we actually put the work into it.
Yeah. But I feel as though that since we were just kids, our motivation was just not really there. It wasn't really as strong back then as I don't really think our motivation for this podcast is like right now because
Oh, for
like
sure.
we're older and even though we barely really have like time, we got like personal lives, we have to really attend to. I feel like the motivation to do something like a project is actually a lot bigger since now that we're mature and now that we have experience in the past, we know
Yeah.
exactly what to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think for this podcast we can, like, right now, at my age now, I think that I can handle more responsibility and be able to commit to doing this project, this podcast, a lot more so than I could commit to a web show at 14 years old, for sure. And did we do anything else?
No, I think that's it.
We must.
I mean, I guess you count when we actually made the website, which I forgot what the URL was.
Um, I don't remember either. But what I know is that that was, oh man, that show was so much work. I think that's part of why I wanted to stop doing it. It was so much work for me because, like, it was my project, so I had to do a lot of the work. I had to write the scripts. I used to take my notebook with me to school and write scripts while I was at school in class. I would sit there writing scripts, and so I had to keep up with that. And then we recorded them together, and then I did all the editing, which took hours for like a 5 minute video. It took me hours to edit together all the little clips of footage that we had, because we recorded the show. Most of it is like one line at a time so that it looks like a two cam sitcom. So we would cut between each line of dialogue and then change the camera and record the other um the other lines of dialogue, and like editing all of that together took so long to do, and like cutting out, the excess, it was so much. And then the website took hours to get set up, even from like, I didn't like program, I didn't code or anything for the website. I just went and got a template for free on the internet, and even like just using that and editing in all the aspects that I wanted the website to have was just so much. It was quite cumbersome, especially on a 14-year-old. I think that's part of why my passion drained, was because I was also in school all day. I was in 8 classes in high school for most of my high school career, and so I also had homework. And like, it just became, I think it just got to be too much. I still loved the show. That's why I kept writing, even though we had stopped recording the episodes. But it was just too time consuming, too much work for me to keep up with all of it. You know?
Yeah.
It was just a lot. But it was a fun thing to do.
Yeah, it was.
And, looking back at the show, I have not watched it since then. But I think that we can really see where we were in our lives at that time, looking back at that. And I remember it being fun to do. Right?
Yeah.
It was fun. And yeah, I think we had a really good time doing that. And just like we had a good time writing my rap songs, that was also a good time. It just also was a little bit cumbersome for me, because I was in college, and I was a full-time college student. So sitting there like writing songs also became a little bit cumbersome. And I was living in a dorm, so I didn't really have the privacy and the quiet to record music. So that, like, it wasn't practical. It wasn't a practical hobby to have. Like, living in a dorm trying to record something where you need quiet, it's just not really possible. So I kind of had to give that up. And my passion for that kind of drained, because my passion for my future career increased. And that's what I was focused on as well. And I also think for both of those things, it wasn't even like one day I was like, you know what, we're not going to do this anymore. It just kind of decreased over time, don't you think?
Yeah.
There wasn't like just a final straw. Because I also still have, I think I have, like, I remember having an idea for one more song. And I never wrote it or anything. And I just kept thinking, I'm going to do it. And now it's been a few years. And it just never happened. I think, and I was also writing songs far less frequently than I was when I got started. And I think it just kind of slowly decreased. It drained down. And, same thing with Marshall Cakes. It just, like, there wasn't a one day where we sat down and we were like, this is it for this thing. I think that we thought that we were going to be able to do more than we ended up doing. But hey, that's fine because all of that led us here to this podcast today, which is way better than any of those other projects.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what else do we have to say about ourselves?
Actually, I think that's pretty much it.
All right.
Yeah. I guess we have to get to know us more and more as this podcast continues. But that's just a little
That's true.
taste. We only gave you a little bit
Yeah.
of a taste and a backstory. And the
Yeah.
road to where we started to where we're at right now. And I guess the only thing left is what will happen in the near future.
That's true. And, who knows about that for sure.
Yep.
All we can do is make plans. But, the future isn't guaranteed. So, we don't know what's going to happen in the near future. But what we do know is that you should keep listening to this podcast because the next segment we're going to get into some funny news.
Oh, I can't wait for
And
this.
then that's just great. So, stay tuned, keep listening.
Alright. We'll see you there. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Funny News.
Yep, we're back at it with funny news. I'm looking at my phone yet again, and I got all brand new articles. I think I found a better website for our funny news headlines, and I'm ready to share them with y'all.
Ooh, that's great.
Alright, so for the first one, it says border authorities find 52 reptiles hidden in man's clothing.
Ooh.
And I'm looking at
There's a
this
lot of reptiles.
picture of it looks like, this isn't the clothing. I think they took them out. But I see snakes, in these bags. They're like see-through bags, but they look clothy. Like they're not plastic or anything. It's just a bunch of snakes in bags that I'm assuming this guy had in his clothes. I wonder if it was clothes he was wearing or luggage? It doesn't say anything else. It just says man's clothing. So were they in his pockets? Like he was wearing cargo pants? Or was he traveling and they were in his suitcase? Who knows?
Well, only the guy would know.
This says New York City man rescued twice in 2 days on Arizona hikes. How you be in trouble 2 days in a row?
I mean, mistakes happen.
It says a New York City man who needed to be rescued twice on consecutive days while hiking in a northern Arizona mountain range is urging others to pay more attention to winter weather than he did. I don't think it's going to be that hard to pay more attention. It seems like he didn't pay any attention.
No.
He needed to be rescued twice. Why would you even go back the next day after you had to be rescued once?
I don't know. Maybe tomorrow, maybe a different experience. I mean, he was probably hoping for a different outcome. I could relate.
I feel like he should have learned something from the first time he needed to be rescued.
Yeah.
Alright, here's our next article headline. Indiana boy rescued after getting stuck in tree rescuing cat. I'm looking at this picture There's a bunch of firefighters at the base of a tree. There's a ladder on it. It's a really small picture, so it's hard for me to see. It looks like there's one firefighter at the top of it, and there's a boy sitting on a tree branch holding a cat. Man, sometimes, okay, let me tell y'all something. Sometimes it's just not worth it to help somebody. Don't you think so, Ricky B? Like, if you're gonna put yourself in danger like that, to where you're putting yourself in the same situation that other, like, living thing, whatever you're trying to save, is in, it feels like it's not worth it.
I mean, unless they get paid. But in this area, he never got paid.
No,
So
it's just
probably not worth it.
it's just a little boy that wanted to save a cat, but he really should have called adults for help. Because it wasn't worth it. I mean, he put himself in danger. So sometimes you just gotta leave situations alone. If you don't have the resources to help someone, maybe you just can't. Oh, here's a good one. New Hampshire lawmakers firmly reject seceding from United States.
What?
So
Wait a minute. Wait a second. Before we actually move on, this is just like what I was actually saying the Florida should actually do in the last episode.
yeah, that's true. You did say Florida should secede.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, seceding means that a state becomes not part of the United States anymore. That's what that means. Like, they would become like their own country, and that's happened before in the past. Like, during the Civil War, states would secede, and yeah. So in this case, very recently, this was on March 10th, last week. It says the New Hampshire House overwhelmingly rejected a proposal Thursday that called for the state to secede from the United States, although 13 lawmakers supported it. Who proposed that? Who's got a problem with New Hampshire? You never hear anything about New Hampshire.
Well, now we're hearing things from New Hampshire now.
I feel like you were on the right track. If there's a state that needs to secede, it's Florida.
Yes.
Not New Hampshire. New Hampshire can stay.
And New Hampshire's just way too normal. I mean, it's like Wyoming. But people actually think New Hampshire exists. But you just never really hear a lot about New Hampshire than in Florida.
It's such a small place. I mean, what difference would that even make? It says, under the secession proposal, voters would have been asked to amend the state constitution to add that New Hampshire peacefully declares independence from the United States and immediately proceeds as a sovereign nation. I mean, what would that even mean? Like, what are the implications of that? Like, if you're a New Hampshire resident, are you still an American citizen?
Guess not.
Or would you need a passport to go to New Hampshire if you live in America?
Probably.
Like, there's going to be, like, customs in New Hampshire now for people that are right across the border, like in Vermont. They've got to go through customs to get into New Hampshire. Like, what happens? Like, and what about their interstate highways?
I guess it could just be...
Like, what, they're just gonna shut it all down except for one and make that a border checkpoint? Like, I don't understand this.
I guess they have a plan. I would think. I mean, if they didn't have the plan, they wouldn't be proposing this in the first place. But I think they
Well,
have it all covered.
I think what it is that other states' representatives proposed that New Hampshire should secede. Not New Hampshire. New Hampshire said, no, we want to stay.
Yeah, they have a plan.
I mean, what a time. Like, everything's so divided, and now we want to divide up the states?
Yes.
That's wild. I can't even believe that that's a thing.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Okay, so this is from Rhode Island. It says
Ooh.
bag of animal heads linked to sacrifice ritual. There's a question mark at the end, so I did it with an upper inflection. It says several animal heads found in a plastic bag in East Greenwich last month appeared to be related to some sort of religious animal sacrifice ritual, the Rhode Island Society for Prevention of Cruelty said. So they
Hmm.
found animal heads in a plastic bag, I guess just the heads.
Okay.
And I don't know why they're jumping to religious animal sacrifice. I
Yeah.
feel like
Why
that
not a cult?
I feel like that's a common bandwagon to jump on when weird stuff happens.
Yeah. It's a cult. Why not just say it's probably a cult
Well,
sacrifice?
well, Ricky, that's speculation too. That's the same thing. And
I mean, look,
there's
it has.
I don't think there's any evidence of that. It's just a bag of animal heads. It could have just been a teenager.
Yeah, well, why would a teenager cut off heads of animals? Unless they're trying to simulate Red Dead. I don't really see the point.
Well, some kids do stuff like that, like cruelty to animals. Like it might have been like a sociopathic teenager.
Hmm.
It might not have
Well,
been.
maybe the kid was. You know what? You know what I think? Maybe the kid was trying to form a cult. He's trying
What
to
is it with you
bandwagon
and
off
the
what other
cult? Why
cults
does it
did.
have to be cult related?
Because it just makes more sense. Cults are a lot more normalized nowadays. Back then, it was abnormal to be like some sort of cult. Now, it's come into
Animals,
the mainstream
animal
media.
sacrifice is not mainstream.
Now it's mainstream.
I don't think so. I think that they're jumping to conclusions.
I mean, what do you? What is a teenager even going to do with those heads, anyways?
Well, he just left them there, so I guess he was done. I mean, I think the question is what he did with the bodies.
Oh, I think I know. He wanted to simulate. The teenager wanted to simulate Survivor. You know, one of those Survivor television shows. When they're out in the wilderness.
You think that's what he was doing?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why we're assuming it was a he.
Yeah. Could be a she.
Could be a they.
Or not. Or they. He, she, they. Whoever the case, this person was trying to simulate Survivor.
Okay. I'm glad we went over that theory. Um,
Ah,
Up next in the news, authorities seized nearly $3 million worth of meth in onion shipment. And that's all that says.
what?
So that's just up for interpretation. There's a picture of a bunch of onions.
Onions and meth.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, people
they
are
were
in.
smuggling it in a shipment of onions.
Hmm. Oh, there's something. They're trying to disguise the onions. Trying to disguise the meth in the onions. Oh.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought they were mixing meth and onions together.
Does that make any sense to you?
I was right at the compliment that they actually think of coming up with unique ideas and making drugs. And saying that no one is running out of ideas for any type of drugs. We can invent technology, like we actually said last time. Technology is evolving, and so is the world of drugs.
Yeah, but that's not the case here. I think they just had it hidden in it. It's just like on Breaking Bad, how they used to hide the meth. I'm trying to remember how they did it, but they put it in the trucks in the batter for I think it was for the chicken for the fast food restaurant. They would like seal it in these bags, in these plastic bags, and then they would put it in the batter and then mark those canisters with an X or something. So then when it got over the border into America, they would just open it up, reach into it, pull it out of the batter, and then that's how it went. It feels like that. This is like that. They
Hmm.
watched Breaking Bad because this is a recent story and that show is really old now. So it's like they kind of, but they got caught. They didn't get caught in Breaking Bad. These people got caught, so I guess they need to watch the show a little bit more. Maybe this time take notes.
Yes.
Really study Walter White, and I think they have a lot more to learn before they really perfect the craft of drug smuggling.
Yeah. Well, while they're in jail, they're just gonna need to really take some notes.
Yeah, maybe they've got Breaking Bad on DVD in the jail.
Yeah. And then when you get out, you do it again. But this time you gotta do it right.
Oh, here's a story about Hank the Tank. You know Hank the Tank?
Never heard of it.
It's this giant bear that's been just terrorizing people. So it says Hank the Tank. It says huge Tahoe bear breaks into homes as it eludes capture. So this thing, Hank the Tank, is a 500-pound black bear that's damaged more than 30 properties around Lake Tahoe. And last week broke into yet another home in an endless quest for a quick meal. So the thing is, Hank the Tank is this giant bear terrorizing the larger Lake Tahoe area, and he's breaking into houses and eating their food. Isn't that
Hmm.
funny? He goes in there, he's eating people's food. I bet he even knows like where the fridge is and how to use it and go in there and get something to eat.
Yeah.
That's probably how he got to be 500 pounds. He's eating human food. That's why they call him Hank the Tank.
Hank, more like Yogi Bear.
Yeah, that'd have been a better name.
Yeah, look, if he knows how to actually locate a fridge and open a fridge, he's smarter than an average bear. Pretty much. He just don't want to call us Yogi Bear IRL.
Yeah, all he needs is like a smaller sidekick.
Yes. And a hat and like a collar and a tie.
How do you get just a collar though? I never understood that. Did he rip that off of a shirt or did he find just a collar and then put a tie on it?
I don't know. The world may never know. Except for Hanna-Barbera.
um, Raccoon falls through the ceiling into packed LSU dining hall. Oh, that's awful. I could not imagine that if I was in the dining hall at college and a raccoon fell down.
Well,
Students screamed and the cook tried to catch it in a basket.
well, at least everybody's getting exercise out of it. With all the running. And that raccoon just wanted a meal. That's why it crashed.
Man, there's better places to eat than a university dining hall. That is not good food. That's barely food.
Well, it's better than the food outside.
Let me tell y'all something. Like, so I went to a traditional 4-year university for 1 year. And in that time, what I learned was that if you go to the dining hall on campus, the food is always terrible unless there's some type of event on campus. That was something my friends and I noticed. Like on family day, the food was good at the dining hall. Or like if there's going to be like special guests on campus, like big donors or something like that, that's when the food at the dining hall was good. Or like at the end of the year when they started doing new orientations for the next year's freshmen, the food was good that weekend. But any other time of the year, you would get like this piece of meat. You couldn't even tell what kind of meat it was. And you start chewing it. You could be chewing that bite for 5 minutes straight. It does not break down. I had some bad food at this dining hall. So let me say, like, this raccoon could probably find better food out of a dumpster at a restaurant. I'm sure the raccoon could find better food out of a dumpster. Like, if it went to a dumpster, like at Chick-fil-A or something, it could get way better food than you can get at a university dining hall. Easily. So this raccoon is
Huh.
doing it all wrong if it's looking for food.
Huh. Well,
Oh
that's
no.
interesting.
Now what was that, Ricky P?
I know. I was just saying that was interesting. Anyways, what's the next news?
I think this is going to be the last news of the segment.
Okay.
Um, so this says Typo sends drivers in Florida. Of course, it's Florida.
Uh,
Typo sends drivers in Florida to Trump 2024 merch website.
wait, there's a website?
It says Miami Beach, Florida. An apparent typo was sending motorists in southern Florida seeking to resolve their traffic citations to a website selling 2024 merchandise for former President Donald Trump.
What?
So let me see if I got this right. I think what this is saying is that, so you know when you get a traffic ticket, you got to pay the ticket. So
Yes.
on the ticket, it says the website you go to pay your fine. And I guess there was a misspelling, a typo, some type of maybe autocorrect error on these tickets that were written in Miami. And when people went to the URL, it was a Trump 2024 merch website, not the court.
Uh,
Oh man.
Look, no amount of explanation can make any sense of the situation. I can barely even comprehend what I'm hearing.
What kind of typo is that? Like, that must be, like, really obvious, right? I mean, the Trump 2024 merch website must say Trump in the URL, right?
Yeah, it should have. I mean, what was in the URL?
And then the court
Like,
website probably says something about court or Florida in it. Like, I don't understand this
yes.
typo that no one noticed.
Uh,
That makes no sense. Now,
uh,
someone did this on purpose.
yeah, someone has to be trolling.
Because it doesn't add up. That's a mistake.
But this isn't not even me trying to actually be funny. I'm legit confused about it. That I just do not know what to say about the situation.
Me neither. And it doesn't make any sense that that could possibly even be a mistake. So, I don't know. I think someone there's a Trump supporter a Trump supporter in Miami that has control over the tickets wrote that. It had to be.
Yep.
Well, I think that's it for our funny news segment for today.
Yep.
All right.
All right. See ya.
All right, that's it for today's episode. Remember to stay tuned for our next episode, and also remember to always take it with a grain of sand.